We're doing lesson 188. The peace of God is shining in me now.
Wow. What does that mean?
Well, you mentioned the combination of this lesson and the next two. And why don't you talk about that?
Okay, so back a few, well, it's not a few lessons. It's back one where I bless the world because I bless myself. So what it was saying is that first we have to accept forgiveness for ourselves or salvation, atonement, whatever it is. And then but we won't know that it's there until we give it away, right? So it's the sharing of forgiveness that makes it real for us. But these next three lessons after it establishes that is the peace of God is shining in me now. I feel the love of God within me now. I choose the joy of God instead of pain. So what that's saying to you, here's your inner world. See the salvation here first.
Right.
See the love, see the peace, see the joy from here, and that's what you're sharing. Right? You're not sharing a particular idea about life or anything. You're sharing this one thought of forgiveness, which brings joy, peace, and love. So you got to have it here, because otherwise, if you try and do healing work without feeling that blessing inside, you'll just get worn out. You get burnt out, and you won't feel like you're getting the love back that you're giving out. And that's the important part about the giving and receiving. So this lesson, the peace of God, is the beginning of instructing us not to seek anymore, but to find. And that's the key in this practice. Stop the seeking and find this peace inside of you right now. And if you find genuine peace inside of you, you will know how to extend it. It'll
just really automatically extend.
Yeah.
You know, we were rereading the 50 miracle principles yesterday in our own study, and it was like miracles are natural. They shouldn't be consciously chosen. Miracles are habits.
Yep.
It's like what you have inside because you've developed it. That is what will automatically extend.
Right.
So that was cool.
And the nice thing about that is what it's saying is you're dropping above analysis about how will I do this and how is this all going to work, and it's just coming from your nature now.
Yeah.
It is your nature to share love.
Yeah. Right.
It is your nature to share peace.
Yes.
It's your nature to share joy.
Yeah. And then it's just fun. It's just play.
Right, but it's not like it's this idea that they're not under conscious control. Right? You said consciously directed miracles can be
misguided.
Misguided.
I think is what it says.
And I think part of that is that by not letting them come from your nature and you're analyzing how am I going to do this.
Well, wait a second. By not letting them come from your ego nature, you mean?
No, from your true nature.
By not okay, sorry. Go ahead. Finish your sentence.
Well, the idea you said was that miracles should be habits. Right?
Yes.
Right. And so it's coming from my nature. I don't need to analyze, think about it, break it down. It just comes naturally.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like they said, it's hard to be loving all the time, but it's harder not to be.
Hey, right.
Yeah.
Harder not to be loving. So it takes a little effort to recognize the blocks to the awareness of love's presence and to let them go. It takes not only a little effort, it takes vigilance. And we talk about that a lot. Just watch for those little upsets. Those are the little handles that you can use to remove whole areas of judgment.
Right. By handling the little upsets, the little fears as they come. In fact, there's very particular practice instructions for doing this lesson today.
Really? You want to read it too? Oh, I remember that, and I said to myself when I was reading it, let's do that at the end of this class.
Okay. Sure.
Let's take a few minutes to do that.
Sounds good.
So we'll watch the time. We'll leave time for reading the practice instructions, and then we'll do it together.
Right.
I think it's really cool that we can actually join, even though people are around the world here. And we really are joining in spirit, and even when people watch it later on YouTube, they're going to be joining us with us in spirit. Time and space don't mean anything to spirit.
You know, one of the things I really like about this lesson comes out in the first paragraph, where it's basically this idea that the truth of your being, which never separated from love, always remained in it. It said that, but now we're in this illusionary state, right, of seeing ourselves as body and egos, and that's it.
Yeah.
But what this is saying is that from your true nature, there's a light inside of you that still remains, and this light is a certain way of thinking about forgiveness, and the light is like a letter from home. It's like you get lost, you know, you're on a trip and you get lost, and mom gave you a piece of paper to tell you how to get back home if you get lost. That's what this lesson is about. The light inside of you is there, and it will show you how to forgive yourself and others, so this one child of love God created can go back home.
Yeah.
So it's a letter from home.
That's sweet.
Here's your instructions. Here's how you're going to get back. And it's basically by sharing forgiveness.
I like, too, this first and second sentences in this lesson. Why wait for heaven? Those who seek the light are merely covering their eyes. Oh, it's so dark in here. My life is so dark and miserable. Look.
Yeah.
Right?
So did we mention that this morning about who's the singer in Sedona here, Kirtana?
Yeah.
And her
I love her music, yeah.
And her teacher was the non-dualist?
Gangaji.
Gangaji. And she said, before Gangaji, I was a seeker. And after Gangaji, I was a finder.
A finder.
So there's a subtle difference there in this kind of seeking and finding. And that's kind of how we're disciplining our mind.
Yeah.
You begin by seeking. You begin by getting more peace and joy. And then you're motivated. Let's find that.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's better and better.
Right. So is that the implication of that first sentence, why wait for heaven?
It's right here, right now.
Right here, right now.
Yeah.
And that light is inside.
And you know, if it's just a note in your pocket that's giving you instructions how to get back, when you find the note, you already know that you're going to be home. Right? You have a little glimmer of light, and you know everything's going to be okay if I just pay attention to the light.
That's right.
And not to the pain. So, enlightenment, I think this might be the only time the Course uses the word enlightenment in sentence 4. Enlightenment,
which paragraph?
First paragraph.
1:4?
Enlightenment is but a recognition and not a change at all.
Right.
It goes right back to the introduction to the Course, where it says it's all about recognizing the blocks to the awareness of love's presence.
That's the deal.
Because you have it already.
That's it.
The kingdom of heaven is here already.
That's right. And I mean, this is the idea of God as love. As soon as we thought we separated from love, and whatever thoughts made us believe that, as soon as we did that, God, love, corrected it. The Holy Spirit corrected it.
Yeah.
So now it's not that we're needing to seek or to make something happen. Now it's just being uncovered for us as we go through time.
Yeah, as we go through time, and for us Course students do our practice.
Right.
So you know, just as a reminder, there's a part of the practice, tradition you might say, or habit formation, which is called response to temptation. That's just one way it's expressed in the Course. What that means is whenever throughout the day you feel your peace is threatened, that would be a response. That would be temptation.
Right.
When I was like, I'm looking sideways at something and thinking, uh-oh, my peace is threatened right there.
Right.
So
as soon as you lose your peace.
The second you lose your peace. Well, even if you go into a total meltdown, the Course still calls that temptation. You still haven't committed any sin. Right? You've just been looking at the darkness and mistaking it for the light.
You know, and we've mentioned this before, but it's really important. when you're upset, and especially if you're really upset, you're really angered, really terrified, then at that point your mind is very, very concentrated on whatever you think is justifying anger or fear. And so that's why when you practice then, when your mind is so concentrated, you can make great strides ahead.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. And it takes discipline to do it in that form, because the power of the emotion wants to say, it's that thing, it's that person that's making me feel bad.
Right.
And you have to take the emotion for what it is. It's like a churning or a burning or whatever it is. Take that emotion and put it on a new thought. And the thought, so today the thought would be, the peace of God is shining in me now, or I have the peace of God right here in my heart,
Right.
or the light is in my mind, help me to look at it. But using the idea for the day as the basis
Right.
for your response to temptation, that's one of the habits that the Course is attempting to help us acquire.
Right. See, we talked about that yesterday too, that in general, spiritual discipline, whether usually in any system that's been around for a while, it's like you have a discipline such that, whatever your discipline is, you follow that until it becomes a habit. And from being a habit, then it becomes your nature. And that's why then I'm just responding with love.
Right.
So would you say, under this idea of response to temptation, response to I think I've lost my peace, I don't feel loved, that eventually when we do that enough times, that then it's like we're at a place where we see those ideas slowly developing and we cut them off at the pass.
Yeah.
Right? We don't even let that come up.
Right.
But that takes constant
practice.
mind washing.
Yeah.
All through the day. Like,
Yeah.
how do I feel? How do I feel if I'm upset? So the second paragraph here, he introduces again this major idea about how perception works.
Yes,
right?
I wanted to talk about that.
All right, go for it.
Okay, so this is the whole reversal of cause and effect. And we can't be told this enough times. The world and our senses tell us that what we see, what we hear, let's just be simple, what we see and hear is causing our mind to have a certain
Content.
yeah. The world causes me. What the Course is telling us is that our senses are part of the world. Our senses have been made by our desire to be separate.
Right.
Now they can be used to bring the light back into our life and everybody else's. But because we think the world itself is coming into us, we feel small, helpless, powerless, angry, frustrated, sad, all of that. And we can't do anything about it. We're victims. That whole victim mentality disappears when we take up our true power. And the power is in how perception really works.
Right.
Okay.
In fact, in classic Raja Yoga meditation, what you reach a point in meditation where you really do see the world coming from here out instead of from out inwards. You can really discipline your mind to that. And, that's the basic idea here. When he's saying all perception starts here, is that helps understand the idea, I bless the world because I bless myself.
Right.
And that's where my faith has to come, because the Course is saying, if I allow that love and peace and joy to transform me and to heal me, then it's saying that is how I will see the world.
Yeah.
If I see it inside here, that's how and that's why there's no order of difficulty in miracles, because you've changed it here.
Where the source
Where
is.
the source of that is.
Right.
And that takes, to say you're making up the world and your senses have reversed everything is something that we have to take kind of at faith and trust at the beginning.
Until we try it out.
Until we use it.
Yep.
Once we use these principles and these practices, then we know that it's there.
Right. This is, I think, one of the most important, basic, foundational ideas in the Course, is that the world comes from our mind, not the other way around.
Yeah.
So that's kind of why I enjoy studying quantum physics. It's like, it's telling me that from another point of view entirely. So it just helps to build my faith.
Yes.
That's all it is. And when we recognize that our choice is what's making it up, it becomes a binary choice. There's only two.
Right.
It's either I'm the victim of the world I see, or all power is given to me in heaven and on earth.
Right.
Only two things.
And that's what makes choosing simple, because it's broken down to on, off, yes, no, true, false. Right.
It's not a whole lot of different things going on that we have to analyze. That's how the ego keeps us busy, is in order for me to be happy, I've got to figure out how to change things, change things in the world, or in your mind, or your behavior, or even my behavior. It's like, no, find the source of everything. And then once we do that, once we say, oh, an angry person lives in an angry world, a loving person lives in a loving world, which do I want? We make a simple choice.
Yeah.
Then we begin to see the results of that.
That's right.
But if we choose to say, an angry person lives in an angry world, you know, with ego, if we choose to think that way with ego, it's going to be, you got something in here. It's going to be totally about how you got to change your mind and not be angry. Right? No. It all comes back to number one.
Right. That's what it says in one of the lessons, only God's plan for salvation will work, meaning the egos won't work. And it says the role that the ego is assigned to your mind in that is to figure out what you can change other than your mind so you're okay.
Right.
You know what I'd like to do with this, establishing that all perception starts here, that there's this light that's going to direct us back to our true nature.
Yeah.
In 3, he describes what that light is like and how it works in paragraph 3 here. So
that's on page 357 if you're following along with the book, in the workbook.
So let me read that. So this light, this peace that's shining in you now, and it extends from, it says, and from your heart it extends around the world, right? That's the genuine peace. It's not the peace because I'm a special cool guy. It's this peace that's shared.
Yeah.
Right? So if you find that light, then it will automatically share. And then it goes on to say that this light, this peace, it pauses to caress each living thing and leaves a blessing with it that remains forever and forever. Now, when in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is an incarnation of God, just like Jesus' incarnation of God. And he's instructing Arjuna, who's a soldier, right? And so Arjuna says, I get it. He says, if I got to choose to give up what doesn't work and give up the world, and then I have to choose what's true in spirit. He says, but suppose I don't make it in spirit. Then I've lost the world, and then I've lost spirit. And what Krishna says and what the Course is saying here is that these accomplishments, spiritual accomplishments, once you achieve them, they never leave you.
Yeah.
It's not like farming. It works one year and it doesn't work another. It's not like ego's plans sometimes work and sometimes they don't. Once you get a hold of an idea here as a miracle and you have that achievement, it never leaves you.
Right.
And that's the same for the love that you give to people through forgiveness will never leave them. Now they may not be aware of it, they may not seem to be changed by it. But that's a pretty found. It remains forever and forever. What it gives must be eternal. Now, check this out. It removes all thoughts of the ephemeral and valueless. It brings renewal to all tired hearts.
That's offering healing to the whole world.
That's right. And lights all vision as it passes by. All of its gifts are given everyone. See, that's the key. I mean, lots of times our peace is just about me, but this peace, this light is for everyone.
Yeah.
It's universal.
If we really have the peace of God, we have no desire to separate out someone who should not be peaceful. You know.
Right.
We don't do that at all when we're in the state of peace.
Yeah, I mean, why would I want to exploit the world around me if I'm content in peace?
Yeah.
I don't need to manage it. I don't need to exploit it.
Right.
I just need to learn how to share this love that I feel inside. So that's pretty profound what it's saying there, in terms of, you know, it gives gifts eternal. It touches every living thing. And I mean, that's pretty profound. If you say, I offer a miracle of forgiveness, it's actually applied to all of creation.
Yeah, if it's true forgiveness.
That's
sure.
Huge.
It's very huge. It's the whole of creation. Oh, speaking of which, there's a note in here about us being co-creator of all things that live. That's an amazing thought. And that's in paragraph 8. And we're co-creators because creation is thought.
Right.
And we are a thought of God. And like yesterday's lesson was saying, everything is an idea. Everything that seems to be a physical thing is a manifestation or a solidification of a thought. And thought is what creation is. God didn't create matter.
Right.
He uses it. It's not a bad thing. It's neutral. But thought is where the power is.
So what is the implication of that we're co-creators? And that means everybody.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Right?
We're with God. We're right? Don't you see it that way?
Yes, we're co-creators. Well, I mean, the way he says it is we complete God's extension of love through our own.
Through our own extension.
Right? And we don't do that as
which is more loving thought. Yeah.
Right. But this is why practicing forgiveness and peace is about healing this one self that we all are. It's not just for this little piece.
Right.
I mean, it's for everyone.
It's for everybody. Think about all the people all around the world. When you look at the news, or it's probably the way most people right now are making their connections with the world, it's like there's a lot of suffering going on. What he's saying here is when you have the peace of God, you know that suffering is a cover for the peace that everyone shares. And when we find it in ourselves and extend it to them, we're bringing everybody's level up, their level of awareness, their level of light.
And we're not denying what seems to be suffering, right? We're not denying the seemingness of it, but we are healing it.
We're offering healing. That's right. I mean, that's what healing is. Recognition of what's real and what's not real, isn't it? So this peace of God goes from us to all living things which share our life. That's from paragraph 10. Life is God. God is life. That was one of the definitions of God that the Course gives.
Right.
So if God is everywhere in everything, everything is made out of God, then the life we share is one life.
Yeah.
And we want everything to have the peace.
You know, what's interesting about understanding ourselves as a creator, right, is that, I mean, the way it describes creation, instead of calling it God, just say love, it just extends itself. That's very different than wanting or intending something. Because wanting something and intending something is like the future, right? Unless you're intending the holy instant kind of thing.
And this is outside of time.
Yeah.
So do you want to do a little practice? This would be a good time to start.
Right. So the
This is in paragraph 9 as described, right?
Okay, so what you want to do is either one of us read it and we'll take a quiet moment with it.
May I read?
Yes.
Okay. And we'll say amen at the end.
Okay.
And hopefully you're in a place where you can close your eyes and take this in as I read it.
So would it be good to recognize ourselves in this, that we're sharing something for the whole of creation?
I think that would be just great.
Okay.
We practice coming nearer to the light in us today. We take our wandering thoughts and gently bring them back to where they fall in line with all the thoughts we share with God. We will not let them stray. We will let the light within our minds direct our thoughts to come home. We have betrayed them, ordering that they depart from us, but now we call them back and wash them clean of strange desires and disordered wishes. We restore to them the holiness of their inheritance. Thus are our minds restored with our thoughts, and we acknowledge that the peace of God still shines in us and from us to all living things that share our life.